So Cincinnati's Bengals already have a winner in this Super Bowl Sunday extravaganza. Mike Martin, their wide receiver, injured. Merlin, as I think about that first half and in a 3-3 tie, there isn't an awful lot of highlight footage, but we go back to Sam White, the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. He has as a thought, he wants the umpire, who plays in almost a linebacker position, positions himself, to go into the backfield of the offense with a referee where he'll get out of the way. White says too often that umpire is involved in plays. I wonder if he might change his mind now. Look at this play. This is the play just prior to the missed field goal. 3rd and 9 from the 9-yard line. Rathman up the middle. Watch what happens. Umpire Gordon Wells slows him down, and David Fulcher makes the tackle at the 2, and then after some second thoughts, Bill Walsh went for the field goal and missed. What a play.
An incredible play, because that was the turning point. And for San Francisco, they have to be in that locker room saying, how many opportunities have we missed? How many opportunities have we missed? That's not a good sign for a team when they miss that many chances.
Gordon Wells, and of course that is about the most undesirable spot you'd ever want to be in any officiating in a game, because you actually are in the thick. He's in there looking for holding, and often he can't see people crashing around him. But David Fulcher again, 33.
How many times have we said that during this day? And I think when Crumry went down, David Fulcher said, I've got to jack this energy level up, and he has played an incredible first half. Number 33 right there.
Saves a touchdown. Rathman's on his way into the end zone, and Fulcher finishes him off. Then the bad snap on the field goal. Instead of a play that could have gotten the 49ers a 10-0 lead, they wind up 3-0, and Cincinnati comes back to get a field goal of their own. How about the second half now?
I think we've got to look at what's happening in there. And I think the problem that Cincinnati is experiencing is right now, Boomer Esiason is not playing good football. He's locking on a single receiver. He is not completing more than 25% of his passes, and he's either got to shape up or they got to start running the ball more, one or the other, because they have got to get some points on the board. Let's look at Boomer Esiason's stats. That is not much to be proud of, and this is a quarterback that is the MVP of the NFL. He's a man that lit up the skyline earlier in the year, but he has not done it here in this ball game. He has not had a brilliant playoff.
And he was lucky that a couple of those throws were not intercepted by the 49ers. He threw right into heavy coverage. But it's 3-all. First time ever. Our second half begins with a tied score in a Super Bowl. San Francisco sends it in play, and Stanford Jennings from Furman flagged down, and so is Jennings just shy of the 25-yard line. And where the yellow hankies are tossed, one must suspect illegal use of the hands against the return team. Harry Sidney made the tackle for San Francisco. Jerry Seaman. And indeed, Cincinnati will start from deep in its own end. And let's look at the official first half statistics.
Holding during the return, number 27 receiving team, first down.
Barney Bussey. So the ball's at the 14 for Cincinnati.
Statistics in the first half. San Francisco statistics, 80% of that yardage, 81% actually, accounted for by Craig and Rice, who were very big in this first half.
181 total yards to 93. San Francisco outgaining Cincinnati 2-1. Eddie Brown in motion. Ickey Woods out of the blocks in a hurry. This big guy at 230 pounds really is rolling on that second step. Nearly 5 yards before Michael Walter can make the tackle. There's Ickey Woods with his ponytail. That's his Samson symbol, and has not been able to generate an Ickey shuffle today. And Ronnie Lott, the Tiger in the defensive backfield of the 49ers, calling the play and then looking for the ball. 2nd and 5. Misdirection. It's Woods to the 25 and a first down. Michael Carter trailing the play, and Jim Fawnhorse, number 55, make the stop. There's Carter. who won the silver medal in the 1984 Olympic Games in the shot put. He was both a star in track and field and football at SMU, but not drafted till the 5th round because many thought he would go into track and field on to the 88 games. What a buy he was at that late price for San Francisco. Quick huddle. Here to be an offside. Here comes James Brooks. Oh, is he crushed? And you know that's a Ronnie Lott tackle when you hear him all the way to the top row. He was set up by Griffin and Fuller, and then Lott came up to nail him. I believe 94, Charles Haley was offside. Offside San Francisco is the call. There's Haley, who was lined up on the defensive right side.
Haley flip-flopping, trying to get upfield quickly to get around Anthony Munoz. Let's take a look at Ronnie Lott. You tell concentration.
Offside.
He
Number
does
94
read
defense.
so well
Still first
inside. And watch the reaction. Once he sees what is developing here, he doesn't waste any steps at all.
The old days, he used to teach you kind of lower that shoulder and head. He just hit you straight up, face mask to face mask. They take the penalty, 1st and 5 at the 30. A fake draw. Esiason down the middle to Collinsworth. And what a catch by the veteran from Florida. Ball not well thrown. Collinsworth injured on the play. He's been playing hurt all season long.
Collinsworth, a big, tall receiver, and Boomer tends to favor him over the years in a crisis situation where he has to get the ball to someone. I think he hurts himself as he hits the ground here. That's great concentration on that play. We're already of the opinion that McGee is hurt, the other wide receiver. Now, if Collinsworth goes down, that really puts Sam in a bind.
What an outstanding play by Collinsworth, catching the back end of the ball. And Don Griffin adding some punishment at the end. 23 yards, a first down. We'll see how Collinsworth is.
NBC Sports presentation of Super Bowl 23 is brought to you by your Toyota dealer. Toyota quality. Who could ask for anything more? And by Gillette and the Gillette Atra Plus shaving system. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Joe Robbie Stadium, northwest of Miami, Florida. Chris Collinsworth was all right. Left the field under his own power. No noticeable limp. And it's a first down, Cincinnati at the San Francisco 47. Early in the second half, tied at 3. Ickey Woods could not find a hole. And around his ankles was Kevin Fagan.
Pursuing from his right defensive end position. Watch how quickly he'll get off the block here, off the back of Munoz, who's trying to block him actually with his hips. Keep him in. Ickey Woods trying to cut back. There was no chance there.
He was on the NCAA champions of the Hurricanes in 1983. Vernon Kozar's team. Esiason. Flags are down. Esiason, high school baseball star, hook slides in at the 42 with the flag back, and Michael Carter says they're grabbing on to me, ref.
This is a situation that Cincinnati has been shot down in all day. First half, they were 1 for 6 third down conversions. That, of course, will take the football out of their hands and hand it back over to San Francisco. They have got to improve on that number. Esiason's completions in the first half and the second half, all to wide receivers.
Holding, number 75 offense, still second down.
Here's Reimers called for holding. Watch him going outside here. Their stunt takes Kevin Fagan in, so they have to switch bodies. Well, I tell you, he's just trying to hang on to Michael Carter. That's just like getting on the back of a freight train.
backfield, James Brooks. All the way to the 38-yard line. Boy, you talk about great trade. Cincinnati sent Pete Johnson, the big fullback, to San Diego to get James Brooks in 1984 from the Chargers. Johnson only played a few games out on the West Coast, and Brooks has starred for the Bengals.
First pass to anyone other than a wide receiver, and it's successful. They got to get the ball into other people's hands here, into Rodney Holman's hands, into Brooks's hands.
20 yards on the play, and that brings up 3rd and 2. There's the Esiason targets. He hasn't thrown to the Pro Bowl tight end, Rodney Holman, yet. Ickey Woods. First down at the 35 of San Francisco. Now here is a story as the Cincinnati fans celebrate a first down. 3-all the score. 10:09 left third quarter. We understand that Tim Crumry refuses to go to the hospital, knows both bones in his lower left leg are broken. He's staying here. He's worked to get to the Super Bowl. He is not leaving Joe Robbie Stadium. He's watching the game in the locker room. He wants to be part of what he feels, of course, with his heart will be a Cincinnati day, and he'll talk to us on the post-game show.
I've got to believe that part of the inspiration for this Cincinnati team is knowing that kind of strength is coming from one of their injured teammates. And, of course, a very important play for Sam Wyche's offense. Their second third down conversion of the day. They're getting down, pushing down now into an area of the field where they can get some points.
We have a problem with the clock.
Speaking of the clock, the attack offense, the hurry-up offense, has not been a factor so far in this ballgame. Something a lot of people worried about, asked about, questioned about.
Well, we have a moment. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the San Francisco 49ers and Cincinnati Bengals is prohibited. The game is property of the National Football League. Cincinnati and San Francisco, all rights reserved.
David Douglas onto the field in place of Bruce Reimers.
This is the first possession of the second half, and Cincinnati has now taken it to a first down outside the Niner 35. Ickey. And a flag is down after a couple-yard pickup. Larry Roberts, who played at Alabama, made the stop.
This is not a Bengal team that gets outside well with this huge offensive line. They're really better off running inside tackle.
Procedure against Cincinnati, a 5-yard penalty. Short gain. Let's see if the 49ers take the 5. Ronnie Lott, who was the NFL runner-up for Rookie of the Year behind Lawrence Taylor back in 1981. Came out of the same draft as Kenny Easley, who starred with Seattle as a defensive back.
We had an illegal shift. 2 men moved, did not reset prior to the snap. Still first down.
So first and 15 from the 40. We told you Tim Crumry were sorting out, trying to find out where Steve Wallace, the fine tackle of San Francisco with a broken ankle, where he is, whether he's in the locker room or on the sidelines. Fagan drags down Esiason right at the 40-yard line. No gain. So he's had time to find a receiver, but the 49er deep defense had him all covered.
49ers have done a good job of mixing their coverages today, and it's been a long day so far for Boomer Esiason.
Esiason ran for 248 yards during the regular season. That is officially a sack. Second and 15. Woods is out. Brooks, the only running back, he gets the call. When you hear a play like that, you wonder when you were a kid, why did you ever want to be a football player?
sound like, you know, they connect those cars in the railroad yard. That's what that sound sounded like.
7 yards for Brooks. Tim McKyer and Fuller and company with the tackle. No huddle.
Attack offense being utilized here. San Francisco willing to play with what they have on the field. Of course, with Jeff Fuller, he can be linebacker or safety. Haley can be down lineman or linebacker, so they have a lot of flexibility.
Esiason. It's a first down on a leaping catch by Chris Collinsworth, 6'5", and he needed all of it to spear the ball.
Old habits die hard. Collinsworth, a receiver that Esiason has looked for repeatedly over the years. He does it again here. The heat is on. That is a great catch.
And the deepest penetration for the Bengals in the game at the 22-yard line. Collinsworth out. They send Brooks out as a flanker left to the near side. Both wide receivers to the right. And Ickey Woods the runner. Breaking a couple of tackles inside the 20, where Michael Walter and Don Griffin team for the tackle. Collinsworth, who has had a couple of key catches for Cincinnati today.
Cincinnati Bengals have been moving James Brooks, out to that wide receiver position to try and get Jeff Fuller to go out there and line up with him. Taking Fuller out of a position to get involved in run support for the defense.
7 minutes left, third quarter. The game is tied at 3. Movement in the line, and Michael Carter reacts to it. Boomer complaining that it was Carter who initiated. Carter saying he was drawn offside.
Both start prior to the snap. Center.
Bruce Kozerski.
That's pretty unusual. Obviously a flex or moving by the center to simulate the snap. That's not legal. Not legal for anyone in that line to move once they're down in position.
Kozerski, an honor student, majored in physics at Holy Cross.
Watch a little bit of movement there. You got to think that you got to know that he was just confused on what he was supposed to do, what the snap count was. He has had a fine day on Michael Carter, though.
2nd and 12. Woods, nothing there. And look at Lott come in. Woods got down just in time. He was set up, and Lott had about a 20-yard run at him. Here's the no huddle.
Very quick substitutions for San Francisco. They put 5 people on the field, so they've got their people in there already. Fresh-legged rushers. They're watching Lott come up.
Dodge a bullet.
That's a good choice. Dive.
The ball at the 25-yard line. 3rd down and 13. Boomer's 3 for 3 on this drive. Flags are down. We'll see whether Jerry Seaman had Esiason, and the play whistled in the grasp and control. Illegal procedure against the Bengals.
Now, do you let it go to 4th down, or do you move them back? Obviously thinking this one over.
Walsh, the 57-year-old head coach of the 49ers, says decline it, make him try the long field goal. Is this his last game?
Illegal shift. 2-man move prior to the snap. Did not reset. Penalty declined. 4th down.
That's twice that they've...
Second time on this drive that they've been called for the same penalty. You can legally move 2 people, but you've got to reset for a second before that ball is snapped.
So Jim Breach, and this will test the limit of his leg. They like him inside the 40. Outside the 40, it's a bonus. This one will be 43 yards. You see, he's made only 205 from this range this year. To give Cincinnati the lead for the first time. for Jim Breach, and the Bengals lead 6-3. Cincinnati's Lee Johnson will now kick it off to San Francisco. That was a time-consuming 12-play drive over 9 minutes used by Cincinnati to get the field goal by Breach. You see Taylor and Rogers deep. Cincinnati leading 6-3. Del Rogers at the goal line. And he's down at the 17, but they may have got him in the face mask as the flags fly. Darrell Smith, 25 downfield, and there's another injury to a 49er. And maybe Rogers, as they hit him high, that might have been a face mask. He's okay.
Personal foul, face mask, number 25, kicking team, first down.
Oh, it'll be a 15-yard penalty.
That's the big one. And from what looked like relatively bad field position, suddenly they're outside the 30.
At the 31-yard line. Understand we have the camera man that has gone down to the Cincinnati Bengal locker room. Tim Crumry down there will show you what he found. Play action Montana to Rice, incomplete. Just moments ago, Tim Crumry, 2 bones fractured in that left leg. You see he's already been casted, and Crumry staying here watching the game from the Bengal locker room. He will not go to the hospital. They have the helicopter here ready to take him.
He's hard-headed, but he knows what he wants. He knows what he wants.
Fake draw. Montana's going to run it. And alertly out of bounds with a first down at the 42-yard line. Now, Montana's 32 years young, but he still has good feet.
Does not like to run as much as he did early in his career. Of course, the very serious back operation. Many said no way he can come back from that. He came back before the season was out. A remarkable recovery. He still has good speed. He's been discouraged from running, from taking the hits. But in a game like this, he'll do whatever it takes to get his team a victory.
Jerry Rice to the right, the only wide man on first down. And Craig up the middle. 49ers didn't run straight ahead in the first half. They mostly directed their running game wide, so Craig blasting up the middle for 5. Steve Wallace, who fractured his ankle on the 3rd play of the game, the offensive tackle for the 49ers. We do not know whether he is in his regular clothes on the sidelines or where he might be at the moment. Bubba Paris, a veteran from Michigan, has replaced him. There he is. Well, he could sell advertisement on the back of that body. He is big. Jerry Rice. A little short pattern where they try to get Rice with enough room that he can use his dazzling footwork as he did against the Bears in the big win 2 weeks ago up at Soldier Field. 13 on the play.
Craig and Rice, the big guns in the first half. Watch the very quick feet. Some of the turf tearing up on this field, and footing would appear to be a little bit treacherous at times.
6-3. Cincinnati, 4 minutes left, 3rd quarter. Craig. Good lateral pursuit by the Bengal defense to deny him any big game. Reggie Williams was there early, as was David Grant, who was replaced Crumry. And there you see some of the football divots being torn up on this new sod. They resodded the center of the field about 5 weeks ago.
Looks good, but it is not holding up very well to the cuts of these two teams. 49 49ers with those two fine pulling guards, Sapolo and McIntyre inside, trying to work the outside of this defense a little here in this first drive.
2nd and 6. And Montana caught from behind. Reggie Williams.
He had 2 sacks in the playoffs earlier, coming from the backside. Montana did not see him. He was able to get a wraparound and get enough of Montana to knock him to the ground. He'll come from the right-hand side of your picture. Montana will feel the pressure up front right there, but he didn't see Reggie from the backside, and boy, he just barely got enough of him to take him down.
A loss of 3. It's 3rd and 9. Out of the backfield, Craig, and he is hit right at the line of scrimmage by Barney Bussey. Boy, that just sounds like a football player, doesn't it? Barney Bussey from South Carolina State.
There he is, right in the middle of your picture. He's assigned to Craig, man to man, and watch him take that responsibility seriously. That's what you call a spy man there. Hey, he's my man. I'm going to go find him.
He was the player that hit Doug Williams, remember, in the overtime when the Redskins looked like they might be Cincinnati, missed a short field goal, and then Bussey sacked Williams, forced a fumble, and Cincinnati won on a field goal in overtime. Pelton hits it high. Fair catch. They'll let it go. It takes a 49. It hit one of the Bengals. That's a live ball. Who recovered?
Saved by
Ray Horton. Ray Horton. That hit the heels of one of the Cincinnati players. That could have been a disaster for one team and glory for another. Timeout.
Ira Hillary, number 89. The ball is going to bounce off of his heel. And look how many 49ers are here. Look how many guys they have in this situation. And yet, it's Bussey. Oh, look at that stack. There are 7 49ers. It's Horton, number 20, actually, who does recover that. But
he was the only white shirt.
The only opportunity they had. And Ira Hillary, who was trying to get away from that football, has to breathe easy. Boy, that could have been a costly turnover.
And so very close for the 49ers to get a big break. 2:29 remaining, 3rd quarter. Cincinnati leads 6-3. Intercepted. Romanowski. Bill Romanowski does give the 49ers the break at the 23-yard line.
After finally getting a few successful passes completed in that first drive, Esiason does not look good with his first pass of the second drive. Throws it right into the arms of the waiting linebacker. That ball just poorly thrown.
Romanowski is in there because he's tough on the run. He did not have an interception all year.
You just got to get that ball up a little bit. You'll have a chance. But that ball, and it looks to me like Boomer just throwing that ball badly.
Montana incomplete. Jerry Rice trying to turn upfield before he really tucked it away.
Jerry Rice, those are sure hands. This is not a man who drops it to the ground, who looks away before it arrives. But that's exactly what he did. He's looking downfield before he tucked it away.
Romanowski accepting the congratulations. They really like this rookie. He's played well and comes up with a big turnover at 2nd and 10. Craig and Reggie Williams, the veteran, staying at home. Boy, you could just see him plant his feet on the outside and say, you're going to have to go inside. You're not going to get around me.
5 substitutions on the field for the Bengals. They go into their nickel package to try and shut Montana down. Walsh counters with his own substitutions.
A big 3rd and 7 for Montana at the Cincinnati 20. Rice.
He's going to be short
By a yard. Lewis Billups rides him down at the 14-yard line. 4th and 1. He's going to go for the field goal. In comes Cofer. Apparent field goal.
Yes, better add that. It's been that kind of day. You pull out the stops in this kind of game, and it would not surprise us to see either coach throw a trick play or pull one out of his hat here.
It'll be from short range, although, remember, Cofer the last time on a bad snap missed the shortest ever in Super Bowl 19. This is 32 yards. Here's Thomas, the snapper. It is good. With 50 seconds remaining in the third period. Once again, this Super Bowl is tied. Full moon over Miami, and in a way you can see this game from around the moon, around the world. About 250 million people enjoying this Super Bowl experience, and we say hello to our friends in Europe and Asia, especially our armed forces, men and women serving the U.S.
A lot of folks out there enjoying this game, and a very good game. It's been a long time since we've had an opportunity to have a Super Bowl game that was this tight, this late in the game. Look out!
Stanford Jennings is going to go all the way unless Sidney can catch him. He can't. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Oh, my. Jennings are both graduates of Furman, and they can enjoy this special moment together. 93 yards for a score, and Cincinnati has exploded into the lead. Fulton Walker returned a kickoff for a touchdown in the Miami-Washington game in the Rose Bowl 6 games ago. That was a 98-yarder. But it's Cincinnati stunning the 49ers, and Stanford Jennings 93 yards.
Jennings getting more responsibility because of the suspension of Stanley Wilson and taking advantage of his opportunity here. Boy, he is high-stepping. He looks like Roger Craig going down that field.
Terry Greer, wide receiver 83, got his heels, but just a yard too late. And here is Fulton Walker, Super Bowl 17 for Miami. And Walker going 98 yards, a record against the Redskins, but it wasn't enough because that was a day for Rigo and Rigonomics. And John Riggins scored in the 4th quarter, and the Skins beat the Dolphins 27-17.
You want to get a return on a kick, you've got to bring it straight up the field, and then you count on getting some good blocking. Look at those red shirts fall, and Jennings never broke stride. You got to be in condition to hump that far down the field.
And that is a rare experience, and they'll be cheering at Fountain Square in Cincinnati. They have returned only one other kickoff for a touchdown in something like 12 seasons.
These are the kinds of plays that switch emotion around in a game. I'll tell you that there's nothing bigger or nothing more devastating on the other side than that kind of special teams play.
Now it's the 49ers' turn. First touchdown of the game on special teams, 13-6. And here's a man who can take it all away, John Taylor. Stopped at the 15-yard line. Ed Brady and Mark Logan.
There's a sense of emotion being magnified in this game in such a way that a bad break of that kind really works more heavily than it would even in a playoff game, or particularly in a regular season game. We'll see how that impacts both of these teams as they get on into this fourth quarter.
Montana hits as he throws, and Jerry Rice still on his feet. Finally dragged down at the 46-yard line. Jerry Rice and Montana, what a hookup, and for the quarterback of the 49ers, he got that one off just as he was kissed. Final second of the third quarter. 15 to go. Cincinnati by a touchdown. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. On the receiving end with Montana hit hard, moving to the 46-yard line before Phillips could, well, Phillips couldn't drag him down. Look at the great balance by Rice. They say he doesn't have great speed until he has that ball in his hands. Montana on the roll. Throwing deep. Complete to Craig. And Craig is to the 14-yard line.
Well, how do you answer a big play? You come right back with that kind of play. Montana not wasting any time. Bing, right down the field. Rolling to his right. He favors that. He's so comfortable out there all kinds of time. You talk about touch passes. The wind didn't play with that one, Dick.
That's the first time he's completed a pass on a roll. 1 for 5. Gets 40 yards as San Francisco tries to come right back. Into the end zone. Almost intercepted. Lewis Phillips had his hands on it.
You have the sense of this being a day of missed opportunities for the San Francisco 49ers. Well, this is a missed opportunity for Lewis Phillips. He gets the read here. Taylor driving inside, and Phillips with good anticipation knows where that pattern is going to be thrown. He had it. He had it. You can't drop that one. That's your ball out on the 20, and you shut down the drive.
Both wide receivers to the left, Taylor and Rice. The throw is to Rice. Touchdown.
Great combination, knows exactly where the other person is going to be. Look how he hung that ball out over that goal line. That ball just has to be out over that goal line, has to break the plane of the goal line before he goes out of bounds. I don't think there'll be any review of that. Nope, not now.
Ooh, Hofer just does get that kick away, and the game is tied again at 13.
Taking another angle. Let's see where the ball is when the body goes out of bounds. Rice sticks the ball out with his right hand. I think he's got a touchdown. I do.
Boy, it took the 49ers only about a minute to answer. It's 13-all. The 49ers only 1 minute 31 seconds to go 85 yards. Wasn't quite minute, Rice, but close.
Very close. Montana knows how important that touchdown was as he goes over to congratulate Jerry Rice.
6th touchdown in these playoffs for Jerry Rice. The kickoff toward the sidelines, out of bounds, so Cincinnati will play it from the 35-yard line.
Dick, there are a few plays in every game that can turn the nature of the game around, where the game kind of hangs in the balance. That big play on special teams by Jennings, one of those plays, and that missed interception, one of those critical plays.
Lewis Phillips had it right in his hands as he made the play in the end zone, but couldn't tuck it away.
If he makes that catch, it's their ball out on the 20-yard line, and I'm sure that's what's going through his brain on the sideline right now. He also, by the way, was the man assigned to cover Rice on the touchdown.
Starting from the 35, just under 14 minutes to go. 13-all. Boomer to Brown. Eddie Brown out to the 42-yard line. Let's go back to that play that preceded the San Francisco touchdown.
Again, Billups with good position, and that's not a great pass from Montana, but right through his arms, and that is not a difficult catch to make. Boy, I'll tell you, that's the kind of hunch, that's the kind you wake up in the middle of the night dreaming about.
Second down, 2.5. Ickey Woods has the first down at the 47-yard line. Michael Walter and Larry Roberts spearheaded the charge, a 4-yard gain. Walter played at Oregon. He and Walsh are on the same page. They celebrate their birthday together on November 30th. Time remaining in the fourth quarter. It's been, it seems, a long time since a Super Bowl game has been this close. The last time the game was decided in the fourth quarter, as you look at the torn sod here at Joe Robbie Stadium, was in Pasadena when Washington and Riggins beat Miami. That was 6 games ago. Woods, a couple. Larry Roberts, he's played a big game, number 91, in his third year with the 49ers.
He's really matured during this year, become an effective pass rusher and run-down specialist. In fact, they have him playing both ways. They like to flip-flop everybody else in there, but he stays in pretty much all the time.
We understand Steve Wallace, who fractured his ankle, the 49er tackle, he is being casted, and his gear in the locker room at Joe Robbie Stadium. Esiason, incomplete. And they're going to rule that Esiason was down and in the grass. That is a sack for Larry Roberts and Charles Haley.
Esiason, we've seen him rolling out more tonight by far than we have seen him in the past. And Haley, who's been relatively silent, coming very quickly off the left-hand side to get Esiason before he could get that ball away.
3 wide receivers to the right. Third and long. 15 to go. Collinsworth was the intended receiver at the 37-yard line, and Charles Haley again applying the pressure.
Those are the kind of passes that Boomer made so very successfully early in this season. We haven't seen him accurately deliver those balls in the last few weeks. He certainly has not been able to do it tonight.
Boy, after the Stanford Jennings touchdown with a kickoff return of 93 yards, have the 49ers turned that emotion around. They quickly marched to a score in 4 plays, 85 yards. Montana to Rice, the payoff 14. Now they've stopped Esiason in Cincinnati, and they get it right back with 11 minutes to go. Fair catch Taylor. That wasn't a very good fair catch signal. I don't know if they're going to allow it or not. San Francisco recovers the ball. Taylor really didn't get his hand up. It was kind of half-hearted, and that would have been Cincinnati's ball if recovered by the Bengals. Alertly, Darryl Pollard, 26, fell on it.
He's got to get that hand up and wave it. He didn't do it. Ooh, and he took his eye off of that football. Boy, they're lucky they didn't get that one taken away from them.
When we return, San Francisco starts from the 49er 18. After 8 o'clock in the evening in Florida, and the MetLife blimp bringing you those great overhead shots. They'll be working with NBC Sports as well at the 1989 Major League Baseball All-Star Game in Anaheim, California. San Francisco at the 18-yard line. 13-all the score, 11 minutes to go. Montana going for the big bomb to Rice. What a catch by Rice. Unbelievable again.
Earlier in the week, when there was talk of an injury to Rice's ankle, I think Louis Billups was probably the happiest guy in Miami. But the story was not true. There's a man who doesn't have a sore ankle. At least he's running like a man with 2 healthy ankles. Billups with his hands full, and Rice, again, the amazing play.
Human highlight film. His coach in college, Archie Cooley, said he could catch a BB at midnight. Roger Craig slashes to the 31-yard line, and the combination of Jerry Rice catching the ball and Roger Craig both catching and running. Look at the totals they're racking up. They are the San Francisco offense.
You've got to believe that the way this Bengal defense has risen to the occasion without their best player, Tim Crumry, has taken a lot out of them emotionally. But right at this moment, in that huddle, they're saying one thing: we can't backslide now. Let's go get them. Let's shut them down. It's still tied on the scoreboard.
Craig again. And sealing off the outside was Reggie Williams. He's played a tough game at that linebacker position. I want to duck in something. We just understand they're telling us that Tim Crumry, despite the fact he wanted to stay here, watch the game, see his team come in off the field, the doctors now have ordered Crumry to go to a nearby hospital for all the proper precautionary reasons, shock and that sort of thing. So Crumry has left. Now at the 32-yard line. 3rd down and 4. Craig, no, he goes the other way to Rice, and it's knocked away incomplete. It was John Taylor. John Taylor on the near sideline.
Guess who was there to help that football fall to the ground? David Fulcher. We haven't mentioned his name as many times here in the second half, but that may be the biggest play for this defense of this second half. He knew.
He had 3 men open. He had Craig, then he had Rice a little short, and then on the sidelines the ball zipped to Taylor, but Fulcher, the man on the spot. 49 yards for the lead, testing the leg of Mike Cofer.
Plenty of leg.
It is no good. Wide to the right. So despite that 44-yard completion to Rice, Cofer misses from 49. We're still tied.
NBC Sports presentation of Super Bowl 23 is brought to you by Hyundai. We make cars that make sense. And by new Michelob Dry. One taste and you'll drink it dry.
Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen, our entire NFL Live gang. And, of course, at the end of the game, we'll have interviews with winners and losers and the emotions of this culmination of the National Football League season. Taping Jerry Rice's ankle.
There's the famous ankle. And maybe he's begun to take a toll on that ankle. That's the one that was hurt earlier in the year, the one that he laid out of practice with earlier this week.
After the missed 49-yard field goal, Cincinnati takes over at the 31. And it's Ickey Woods off tackle, and they're waiting for him. Kevin Fagan, just as Reggie Williams has been solid against the run for Cincinnati, Kevin Fagan has been the answer for the 49ers.
Ricky Ellison, number 50 in the middle of that defense. He's been hurt a good deal of the last part of this year. He has special incentive today. Let's go back to that attempted field goal, the snap by Randy Cross. Word that we have here now is that San Francisco used Cross as a snapper earlier in this game. So our criticism of Chuck Thomas may have belonged on Randy Cross's shoulders.
Michael Carter, the nose tackle, showing his speed as he runs Boomer Esiason out of bounds at the 29. So on that missed field goal, 19-yarder on the bad snap, that was veteran Randy Cross, not Chuck Thomas, who made the snap.
In his last ball game, retiring, maybe Chuck would like to take the blame for him. Perhaps we'd get Chuck to do that for Randy.
There's Cross, 13 years in the league, 3 times a Pro Bowler. He's played both center and guard. Wants to be a sportscaster, a very glib guy. And Dad was an actor, character actor, a bad guy in the movies. He's been a good guy for the 49ers, as Randy. 3rd and 13. McGee. Or Hillary, Ira Hillary in the game with the injuries to McGee, and Collinsworth has his first catch, had only 5 all season, and comes up with a big third down play. First down.
Esiason throwing this long out. It's the kind of pass he missed several times earlier in the game. This one will be completed.
Didn't have a lot of zip on it, though, did it?
Hangs up there a long time, and that was a trademark of Boomer's passing earlier in the year. He really has a powerful arm, and those patterns are the ones he throws the best.
16 yards the first down. Now James Brooks. Look who came flying up there, Michael Walter, to plug the hole. Roberts was there as well, but it was Walter, 99, flying to the ball.
Very, very active linebackers for this 49er team. I'll tell you, George Seifert, their defensive coordinator, has done a tremendous job of putting this defense together in positions where they can make the stops.
Needless to say,
we'd love to see that.
First experience would be one worthy of historical merits.
We talked about that all week, and people looked at us like we were crazy.
6:44 left in the fourth quarter, tied at 13. Second down, 9. Ickey Woods close to a first down as he drives to the San Francisco 44. Fuller and Ellison make the tackle as Ricky Ellison gets up off the ball. Number 50, the tackler for San Francisco. His dad, you said, is here from New Zealand to see him play.
His father has never seen him play a football game. Father and mother separated early. His father has lived out of the country, was in Fiji, wanted to come to Super Bowl 19. The day he was going to leave, a hurricane came through, blew the roof off his house. He wasn't able to come. He's here watching his son today, but we're not going to show you a picture of him.
Not after the Norman Esiason experience of a couple weeks ago. First down, Cincinnati, 5:51 to go.
Father Dan very proud, I'm sure, of the way his son's playing today.
Ickey Woods behind that big right side of the line and plows under Brian Blados, the 300-pound right tackle, and has good yardage again.
San Francisco slanting their defensive line. They've done a pretty good job here in the second half of shutting down the running game. But I think that big offensive line beginning to wear down this defense, and that should pay off in running yardage.
Jim Breach, the field goal kicker, is connected 2 for 2 today. His last from 43 yards. Second down and 3. Woods now with 74 yards, leading the Cincinnati running game. And it's his number again. No, play action. Esiason then throws, complete. Was he out of bounds? James Brooks, that's a good catch. They say inbounds. A dozen more for the Bengals, and that'll put them into field goal range with a first down at the 25.
You talk about a toe tapper. Boy, I'll tell you, those toes down. Now they're saying no catch now. Watch the toes here. Brooks.
First down.
1. That's inbounds.
Out. The second toe out of bounds.
And so far, the instant replay.
Yeah, they're saying they're not going to stop it. He was saying he was pushed out of bounds, that his toe would have come down. The toe would have come down in bounds, but he was pushed.
First down at the 24-yard line, and the snap doesn't even come off.
Carter jumping a little bit early. Did someone move?
Yeah, we look at Breach, but Sam White's is thinking more than field goal now.
He wants the 7.
Ball start prior to the snap.
Well,
Number
again,
64, the
movement
center.
by the offensive line. Kazurski, who has worked so hard today on Michael Carter. We talked about the impact of Carter. Here's that last play. Boy, this is great body control by James Brooks. Watch those toes stretch down. And you see the shove right there by Tim McKyer. If McKyer is not there to push him, that other toe does come down. I agree with the call.
Fans who watched it on the replay in the stadium, at least the 49er fans, booing. They thought that was not a favorable call. First down, 15 at the 30. And they run it. Woods gets back the 5 yards they lost on the penalty. You saw earlier in the game that Ickey on his sweatband over the forehead had number 46. That was the number of his friend from Fresno and UNLV teammate. There it is, Andre Horn. You've heard the story. Horn was his pal that they were supposed to get together one night. Vicky didn't make it, and his friend Andre Horn was murdered, and that turned Wood's life around. That was his best buddy, and he remembers him here in the Super Bowl experience. 2nd and 10. Esiason going for Brooks, incomplete at the 5. Walder drifting back in pass defense to help out Ronnie Lott. All right, 3rd down. Cincinnati today has been 4 for 13, and this is a tough one. 3rd and 11. If they do not gain any yards, the ball just inside the 25, we're talking a 42, 43-yard field goal. 4 minutes, 8 seconds to go. They're letting the clock run down, already 9, and now they'll call a timeout. Or officials will call a time. Kofer, who has missed 2, one from 19 and one from 49 yards. Stanford Jennings, for a moment a hero for Cincinnati with that kickoff return for a touchdown, is in the lineup.
Big play. This is a tough one for the conversion here. 3rd and 11.
Jennings.
No.
They just position the ball middle of the field. Jennings gets a few more yards to the 22-yard line, which will give Breach a shot of a field goal from 40 or just inside. He was originally drafted by the Lions way back in 1978. He's an excellent golfer, and whenever you talk to Breach about kicking, he talks about golf and how his leg is really the club in his body making the play.
Same kind of mechanics. He said you hook and slice a football the same way you do a golf ball.
And you keep your head down.
Well, let's see if he can do it.
40 yards. And it is good. The smallest man on the field, 5 foot 6 inch Jim Breach, is growing by the minute. He is 3 for 3 on field goals, and Cincinnati leads again 16-13. Into the breach. Cincinnati Bengals. Their kicker gives them 3 for 3 and 9 points. And a 16-13 lead. They use 2 kickers. They actually have a 3-man kicking team, or did earlier in the year, and then Lee Johnson took over the kickoffs and the punting.
He really puts a foot into that ball on these kickoffs, and that has been a factor here today. Field position.
And he could kick you a 50-yarder. He has that kind of leg, but Breach is the short man, and he more ways than one. Johnson to Del Rogers. 10. Flag down. Rogers down. Another flag. And it appears the 49ers will start deep in their own end. Rogers, the ball carrier, slow getting up. Well, as you look back on a couple of big moments early then, Merlin, in the first half, the injuries, of course, to Wallace and Crumry, we have documented, but missing a 19-yard field goal, the shortest ever in Super Bowl history. This could be the one they really talk about. Cross is the snapper.
That is Randy Cross. Thomas next to him in the lineup, but Cross, the man snapping tonight. And that ball right on the knee. And you can't get it up and maintain the timing. I'm sure that he is blaming himself, but the timing is so critical. You've got to have the good snap and the good hold, or the kicker cannot do his job.
And then Kofer missed also from the 49, so he's 1 for 3. Montana over the middle to Craig, protecting the ball and out to the 17 as he takes a lick from Carl Zander. And Montana not wasting any time, no huddle.
So important, and this Cincinnati defense, boy, I tell you, they have done a great job without their best player. We've said it again and again, but they keep coming up with the big series, the big plays.
Nice catch underneath the tight end, John Frank. You know, they're 9-1 with Frank in the lineup this year, that tight end. Clock is running 2:40, 2:39. You see it. That's the game clock, 4th quarter. Cincinnati leading by a field goal. First down play, Montana. And out of bounds goes Jerry Rice with another catch. And for Rice, the brilliant All-Pro, who was the NFL Player of the Year last year, his 9th catch for 171 yards and a touchdown. He caught 22 touchdown passes for Bill Walsh last year to set an NFL record. And remember, that was in a short season with a strike. 12 games, 22 touchdowns.
Bill Walsh and his 49ers may be most dangerous in this kind of 2-minute situation. They can explode on you.
Handoff inside to Craig. That's that like a roll. Montana fakes the roll and then hands off behind him, but Cincinnati had it well read. Leo Barker, who came to the United States from the Canal Zone in Panama, from Rainbow City, to play at New Mexico State and then make it in the NFL.
This is the kind of situation we talked about, the fact that Walsh will save an opportunity, save some plays for this kind of situation.
2 minutes to go. San Francisco needs 3. Bobby Stadium, and this game has fulfilled some long-time wishes. We finally have a close game in the Super Bowl. 3 points, 2 minutes to go. San Francisco with the ball, and what do you think?
We have not had the offensive explosion we thought we would see today, but Cincinnati gamely hanging on, finally getting their lead and staying with it. And who would have believed that they could have done that without Tim Crumrine?
Only one touchdown scored on an offensive drive. It's been field goals and a kickoff return for a touchdown. Roger Craig out to the 35-yard line with 1:54 to go. Skip McClendon made the tackle. And I think back to early in the year, Merlin, we were watching the game from Seoul, Korea, when Montana hit Jerry Rice 78 yards, an injured Bengal on the play. Montana hit Rice 78 yards, remember, against the Giants with 42 seconds left, and San Francisco won 20-17. He got another one of those left in him. Jim Scow is the injured Bengal.
Scow, the most productive of those defensive linemen now on the field, has been such a fine performer. He's got to be the smallest defensive end active in the NFL that plays on both run and passing downs. 245 pounds, and I think it works to stay at that. He has had a fine game. He has been important today because he's on the left side. Montana likes to roll to his right, and Scow has done a good job of keeping the heat on Montana.
Let's talk about the Cincinnati defense for just a moment, Roland, as they work on Scow. Here's a team that was in the second half of the pack in the NFL, 15th in the league. And so they felt, fans even in Cincinnati, to win the Super Bowl, get through the playoffs, they're just going to have to outscore the good teams. But it's been the reverse. They held one team, Seattle, to 13. Then they beat Buffalo, held them to 10. And they've held the high-scoring 49ers to 13 today.
They have been an inspired team in the playoffs. And I tell you, they deserve the kind of credit they will get if this score is maintained and Cincinnati can walk out of here carrying that Super Bowl trophy, because they have played inspired football here today.
Eddie Edwards has replaced Jim Scow. Edwards, the veteran from Miami of Florida. On first down, Montana to Rice again, and he's out of bounds at the Cincinnati 47. And that should put him right at the 200-yard mark today. Mike Kofer may get another chance yet. But the 49ers, with plenty of time, 1 minute, 49 seconds to go, they're thinking touchdown. 6 defensive backs for the Bengals. Rice to the left. Montana over the middle to Craig. And Barker gets him down, but not until Craig has another San Francisco first down at the 36-yard line.
Team playing emotional football begins to wear down at the end of the day. They're not getting heat on Joe Montana, and he's taking advantage of that defense.
Montana to Rice over his head. He had broken free of Eric Thomas. About a little too tall was Montana. Last year, set an NFL record with 22 straight completions. He's got 2 timeouts left and plenty of time, 1:22 showing. Scow is okay. He's back in the lineup for Cincinnati.
I'll tell you, what you've got to wonder what kind of emotions have gone through that man's heart and head during this game.
No one has ever gone from a 4-win season to a Super Bowl victory, that's for certain. But Montana would like to keep it that way. Over the middle with a flag down, and it's a completion to Craig, and I believe Craig was held.
We might have a tripping call in there.
Arnie Bussey on the play.
No, they're saying.
Other way around, they're saying now. Ineligible man downfield, San Francisco. You don't see that call often, but Montana scrambling, and one of his linemen released too soon, or it drifted away into the secondary of Cincinnati. There is the critical statistic as San Francisco battles the clock as well. 1:15 to go.
Ineligible downfield. Number 51 offense. Still second down.
Oh, my. Randy Cross in his retirement game is ticketed for another 5, and it comes back to the 45-yard line. Oh, that's a big one. I take that back. That's a big penalty all the way to the 45, where it'll be second down and 20. Montana to Rice. He's in the clear. And Ray Horton fought through a block. There was a blocker on him. Taylor downfield and made a touchdown-saving tackle. What a day for Rice.
It did not look like anyone would be able to stop Rice, but Horton made a brilliant play to get him down.
11 catches, 216 yards. Is there another one? This one's to Craig, and he's to the 10-yard line, and close to another first down, and San Francisco will spend its second timeout. They have 1 left, 39 seconds to go. Kofer could tie it, but the 49ers can win it. Walsh at 57. He has hinted this could be his last game. Sam Weiss at 44. He thought his last coaching game with the Bengals was the finale last year when they went 4-11. There was hot news. Everyone in town in Cincinnati thought he was going to be fired, except Paul Brown, the man who made the decision, the Hall of Fame vice president. He kept him for his final year of the contract, and Weiss has his team 39 seconds from a Super Bowl win. But Bill Walsh has his team 10 yards from a victory himself. Weiss has just set a Super Bowl record with 12 catches. He's in motion. Montana. Touchdown, John Taylor. John Taylor, who sells cars in the off-season for Reggie Jackson, has just hit the home run for the 49ers.
His first catch of the day, but the biggest catch of the day.
34 seconds to go as Kofer tries the point after. He's got it. And a big one it was, because now it'll take a touchdown for Cincinnati to win it. San Francisco leads 20-16.
Taylor cutting to the inside. I think all the eyes were on Jerry Rice, but not Joe Montana's. He had Taylor all the way into the end zone for a touchdown.
Taylor from Delaware State makes his move away from Ray Horton, and with a concentration on Jerry Rice, who has set a Super Bowl record, And Sam Weich's team could not make the big play. Now they have just 34 seconds to generate something special. And while Taylor is congratulated, the man who should also be in that picture is Jerry Rice, who has caught 12 passes for 222 yards to shatter both reception and yardage records in Super Bowl history. There's the man, Rice. He set the table, and Taylor hit the home run. James Brooks, with so much on the line now, is going to be used as a kickoff return man for Cincinnati, along with Stanford Jennings, who returned one 93 yards for a touchdown earlier in this half.
We might see something strange on this kick, too.
It's going to Brooks at the 10.
Yep, straight up the field.
And he gets only to the 26-yard line, and only 9 seconds remain for Cincinnati. They have all 3 timeouts left.
Here's that big catch by Jerry Rice to put them in position for that touchdown across the middle. Oh, that's... Just let the pictures talk to you.
You see Taylor, he has the block. The only man that could have stopped Rice and couldn't make the play, but then he got the second chance.
7 defensive backs.
Ronnie Lott is 40 yards downfield as Esiason throws short, and out of bounds goes Tim McGee with a chunk of only about 5 yards. In many ways, this week has been a week for left-handers. I don't know if Jerry Rice is left-handed. We have a new president, the southpaw, the 4th in our history, George Bush. And Boomer Esiason hope that this might be the inaugural Super Bowl win for Cincinnati. But Montana and Jerry Rice have been a bit too much, apparently. Esiason with the clock ticking away. Throws it away. He was in the grass. There'll be no penalty. He's down. Charles Haley gets the sack. And with it, a timeout. 17 seconds for Cincinnati fans. And the Bengals have 2 timeouts. And they'll need something very special. And for San Francisco, this might be a very special way for Bill Walsh to say goodbye. Do you think he'll retire?
I think he's gone, Dick, and I think it's very possible that George Seifert, as defensive coordinator, will continue the package. They have so many young, strong players, and if they can just continue on the track they're on, they have a chance of being even better, I think, in this next year. Walsh just walked out on the field, by the way, and I think he was trying to think with Sam Weich on the other side. He grabbed Ronnie Lott, said something to Lott. Lott went back out on the field and gathered the defense. And I'm sure what he was doing was anticipating some kind of move from Sam Weich.
Just a 3-man rush. And then the throw incomplete to Collinsworth. They've given him pretty good field position at the 43-yard line. 10 seconds to go. And now it's 4th down. That scoring drive with Rice being such an important part of it with the penalties was 92 yards in 2 minutes and 46 seconds, and Montana was 8 for 9 on the drive.
If I had one quarterback to put in the 2-minute period, and we said it before he started the drive, they are most dangerous in that kind of situation. They just seem to explode in that 2-minute period. They have done it throughout the year. Montana has to be the best big game quarterback I've ever watched play.
4 men on the left side. They'll flood that side, and Esiason will throw up the big one, hoping that something will ricochet. It doesn't. It's knocked to the ground by the 49ers, and that's it. The game is over. San Francisco has won Super Bowl 23. Jerry Rice, the hero for the 49ers, and Bill Walsh will get the ride. We wonder if it's his last as head coach. In the 80s for the San Francisco 49ers, the team of the decade. Teacher and pupil leave arm in arm. And if only we could share that conversation with you. I bet he's telling Weich what his plan coaching job with the Redskins. Walsh will stay in football, but he may not be the head man of the 49ers next year. At least that has been the hint.
Says he wants to take some time out, write a few books, maybe get involved in personnel. But right now, it's a time to celebrate in that San Francisco locker room.
They call him World in college, Jerry World Rice. And in the world of football, in the sports world today, Jerry Rice shows why he is regarded as the best receiver in football. He was absolutely brilliant. 12 catches, 3 of them were of spectacular variety, seemingly open, and even when not in double covered, able to pick off key plays and sparks the 49ers to this win.
Plays you can forget and plays that won't be forgotten. Randy Cross's bad snap will be forgotten. Phillips' drop of the interception, which resulted in a touchdown on the next play, will be one that will haunt this Cincinnati Bengal team in the next few days.
But without Tim Crumry, the Bengals and their fans, they saw a mighty effort defensively, and it wasn't until that final drive by San Francisco that the 49ers seemed so dominant. There's Eddie DeBartolo, the young owner of the 49ers, 3 for 3 in the 80s. No team has taken better care of him. He's like one of the kids in that locker room. They call John Frank Satellite. He's about to put DeBartolo into orbit. NFL live postgame will follow after these messages from your local station. Super Bowl 23 goes to San Francisco.
For the first time in a long time, a Super Bowl came down to the final seconds. 34 seconds left. Joe Montana looking for wide receiver. John Taylor, 10 yards for the score. As the San Francisco 49ers win Super Bowl 23 over the Bengals, 20-16. There you see owner Eddie DeBartolo in the 49ers dressing room. Tremendous victory for them, their 3rd Super Bowl title this decade in what could possibly be the last game for head coach Bill Walsh. Hello, everybody, and welcome to NFL Live, our post-game show. Gail Gardner, along with Coach Don Shula and Paul McGuire, and we waited a long time to see an ending like this, Coach. The 2-minute drill for the 49ers, something they have mastered
Finally,
over
an
the
exciting
years.
Super
Yes.
Bowl. A great 2-minute drill, and the old pros really came on. The guys, the big play people for the 49ers, Montana, the quarterback, led them down the field. Tremendous drive. Rice and Craig were the receivers, and then Turner came open for the touchdown. They had him in tight on that play, sent Rice in motion to the outside. Turner came open down the middle of the field. Montana hit him for the touchdown. But earlier, the dropped interception, I thought, was a key play in the ball game, where Billups had the opportunity to intercept the pass that was thrown. He dropped the interception. On the next play, Montana and Rice for the touchdown that gets them back into the ball game.
Yeah. Paul, what is, from your vantage point, the key play situation?
I don't know if it's so much of a key situation, Gail. It's the hype all week long in the last 2 weeks about the offense. How much offense do they really have? You know, you're talking Rice, Montana, and Craig, Ickey Woods, and Boomer, and Brown, and all of these guys. And I agree with the coach. The couple of plays that Collingsworth made, the catches, the old-timers seem to come back and do the job. The most important thing in this ball game was the strength of both defenses. No one even talked about them all week long or the last 2 weeks. They were talking offense, the great show, the fireworks. 47 points was the over. You know, that kind of thing. I love to see a defensive game, and this was a defensive football game. All
right, time now to check in with Bob Costas. He is in the victorious locker room of the San Francisco 49ers. They are ready to give out the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Let's go to Bob Costas.
All right, Gail, thanks very much. Commissioner Pete Rozelle has made this trip 23 times. We can safely say this one follows the most exciting finish in Super Bowl history and the presentation.
It certainly was, Bob. And owner Eddie DeBartolo and Coach Bill Walsh, you and a great Cincinnati team gave us the finest of our 23 Super Bowls. I don't think there's any question about that. And the 49ers today established themselves as truly the team of the 80s with your 3rd Super Bowl win. And I got a call in the press box a little while ago from someone who sent an invitation for you to visit the White House, President George Bush. Congratulations, Eddie.
Thanks, Pete. This trophy goes to the guys that made this happen.
This trophy is Bill Walsh's trophy. You deserve it.
I appreciate the thought. It's been a great, great game.
Bill, your third Super Bowl championship. You had to be awfully concerned, though, almost all the way through this one. Cincinnati was ready, and they gave it a tremendous effort.
Well, Cincinnati has a great team. They're well coached. It was one of the great games I've been involved in. And we put it together in the final drive, and so much credit goes to our entire team for having the poise to hang in there and stay with it. Cincinnati had a lot of momentum, but I'm just so proud of everybody, Ed DeBartolo, our entire organization. It's just a great moment for me personally.
Is this your final game?
I'm not about to say that. Ed and I have to visit, but this is a lifetime experience, believe me.
The missed opportunities were something you had to overcome. There were several of them throughout the game.
Well, it's like a heavyweight fight for the championship. There's some missed punches, but finally, if you're aggressive and you stay with it, you can win it.
There was pandemonium here as the game ended, and I wasn't able to see. Were you able to exchange words of any kind with your buddy Sam Weich after the game?
Yes, we left the field together. I love him very much.
What was said, if you would share that?
Well, we care for each other.
Bill, congratulations on your third Super Bowl championship.
Thank you very much.
Joe Montana will be here shortly. In fact, he's here right now. I think it's safe to say, Joe, without throwing any excessive hearts and flowers your way, that you go down in history now as perhaps the greatest big game quarterback in NFL history. If you're not, you're on a very short list.
Well, I'll tell you what, the guys up front gave it their all in the end, and we just never gave up. We came in the locker room at halftime and just said, hey, we got to go out and take it. Things might happen, might go wrong, we got to fight back, and everybody did. Our defense hung in there, got a big play on a kickoff, and we just came right back and drove the ball down the field. I'll tell you what, up front, the guys played hard and gave me the time to do what we had to do.
Take me through the final drive.
Well, we just got going. Just trying to get the ball down the field, thinking about field goal, and we kept getting man-to-man with Jerry, and got him going on the outside, and we come back and getting Roger coming up underneath, and then in the final time, we thought we were going to get Brackett.
Here's the John Taylor catch for the winning TD.
Oh, this is Jerry right here. And the first touch, we got man-to-man. He just runs out like a little slant to the outside and makes a great effort getting in the end zone.
All right, that was the first one by Rice, and now I guess we will queue up and run the John Taylor touchdown. Tell me about that one, the one that won it.
We've been hitting the back coming underneath so much, and down there we've been getting bracket coverage and two doubling on our outside guys, and so we're trying to bring the back underneath there, or the guys underneath, and John running like a little up pattern down the middle, splitting the safeties. And like I said, I'm still standing up. I had all the time to throw the ball. The big guys up front played hard.
Even though you got the reputation as a guy who comes through almost every time in the clutch, how nervous, how much anxiety do you feel down the stretch in a game like this?
Well, it's tough, you know. We get backed up there, but we were still confident. That was the one thing that we never gave up on. It was confidence, and it showed out there, I'll tell you.
How sweet is the feeling for you after an up-and-down season where people wondered whether you were over the hill?
Well, I think it makes it that much sweeter for us all. Not only for myself, but at 6-5, everybody was counting us out, and it's great to come back and win it this way, I'll tell you, believe me.
Joe Montana, congratulations. Standing by are Randy Cross and Jerry Rice. We'll get to them momentarily, but let's go over to the other side, the losers' locker room, and Marv Albert. Marv?
All right, Bob, and head coach Sam Weich just moments ago had an emotional talk with his ball club. Would you tell us what was said?
Well, I just told our ball club how proud I am of them, and we are of each other, and that we didn't do anything wrong. They played a great game. They made some great plays right at the end, and they won the game with great plays. It wasn't won because someone made a mistake or anybody did anything wrong other than go 14-5, play a whale of a game. And 12 months ago, this team wasn't expected to do anything. Coach wasn't expected to be around. A lot of the players were expected to come up with mediocre season, and we had the best record in the National Football League. Even the Super Bowl champs didn't have our record, but they are the champs. They won it today in a tremendous game. We were 34 seconds away. 34, and we're not going to forget this feeling next year.
Sam, would you do anything differently? Cincinnati usually not a conservative ball club, but you come to the Super Bowl and it seems to be the same story. The teams don't play the same way they do during the course of the regular season.
Well, we played the same game we played in the last half of the season anyway, and no, I wouldn't change anything. Nobody did anything wrong in this locker room other than play their hearts out. Half of them banged up now to where they can hardly sit up straight, but congratulations, the 49ers did it.
it has not been as widely a speculated story as the Bill Walsh situation as to his coaching future. Your contract is up. There's been a degree of guessing as to what your future holds. Where will Sam Weish be next season?
As soon as we get back, we'll start talking about that. We've been putting everything we had into this ball game. We gave everything we had in this ball game. Every player, every position coach, every member of the organization, and we gave it our best shot. That's all we can say. I'm happy for Bill, and I'm happy for the 49ers.
Any possibility of your leaving Cincinnati?
No, we're going back right now and talking about it.
Okay, thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
All right, let's get back to Bob Costas.
All right, Marv. Jerry Rice literally pulled out of the shower. I guess he has been named the game's MVP. Holding the Vince Lombardi Trophy is the retiring veteran Randy Cross. Let's begin with you, Jerry. Better than 200 yards receiving, and most of it came late.
Yeah, it really came late in the game, but I think the entire team played excellent, the offense, the defense, and it took a total team effort to come out and win this game today.
You had several important catches, big plays, a leaping catch of a Montana bomb midway through the second half, and the touchdown play where you curled the ball around the flag. Your thoughts on those?
I knew we had to make some plays, the receivers, and whenever Joe put the ball up in there, we just tried to go up and fight for it. It was a total team effort. Everybody deserved the credit, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Did your ankle give you any trouble at all?
Only on the long pass. I got caught in a bad position, but I was able to make the catch. That was a great pass by Joe. Joe put the ball in an ideal spot and made my job easy for me.
And a look at another grab here.
Well, I'd rather give Joe the MVP in today because he really had the leadership this year. He took total control and exemplified the leadership that we really needed.
Well, he's got two of them. Now you've got one. Here's the play I referred to earlier. Tremendous leaping catch.
Well, Bill had said earlier that Joe would put the ball up in there and we had to go up and fight for the ball. So I just went over, I fought for it, and I was able to come down with it.
How much talking between opponents on the field tonight? Exchanged many words with Bengal players?
Not very much. Cincinnati, they talked all week long, but, they're an excellent team. They played well, but I guess we was the better team today.
Congratulations, Super Bowl MVP.
Thank you.
Let's move over to Randy Cross. What a sweet way to wind it all up.
Oh, how fitting is it to end that way, and especially Joe Montana. You talk to Jerry Rice, he's unbelievable. But Joe Montana's got to be considered the best quarterback, period, in the last, I don't know how many years in the NFL. We kept telling him in the huddle, you just got to believe, you got to believe. And as that drive went on and on, you could see the guy's eyes just light up. And by about midway through that drive, we knew we were going to score.
Nothing could ever detract from the Pro Bowl caliber career you've had, but you were involved in a couple of plays that could have briefly labeled you the GOAT. The bad snap on the missed field goal, an illegal man downfield call, and eventually, the way things turned out, it's all going to be forgotten and you can smile.
Yeah, you see, if you don't get them overconfident, you can't make big plays like that. We had them right where we wanted them.
How badly did you personally feel, though, at any point during the game?
Well, the bad snap naturally always makes you feel terrible. That's a bad snap. Yeah, I mean, and I really have to apologize for Chuck Thomas. Chuck got credit for it. It was low and away. It was just lack of concentration on my part, and it shouldn't happen after 13 years.
Randy Cross, congratulations.
Thanks, Bob. I'm going to go enjoy this one.
Very briefly, we're going to bring in John Taylor, who caught the winning pass. We've only got a second here. It was good for 10 yards. Your thoughts on the play?
Earlier I killed a drive where it was third down and 3, and I missed the pass, and we wound up having to go for a field goal. So right here, as they called the play, I was just saying to myself, if it comes to me, it's mine, wherever it goes.
Can you recapture the emotion the second that ball was cradled in your arms?
I was happy, I was just happy.
Master of understatement, John Taylor caught the winning pass in the Super Bowl. Let's go back to Gail Gardner.
All right, Bob, thank you. A devastating injury to Bengals nose tackle Tim Crumry early in this game. The Bengals able to regroup, but what they could not do was shut down Jerry Rice. We'll be back with more right after this.
NFL Live, the postgame, is brought to you by your friends at Anheuser-Busch, who remind you to know when to say when. By McDonald's, celebrating 21 years of Big Mac attacks. By the American Express card. Membership has its privileges. Don't leave home without it. And by new AccuView. the first disposable contact lens from Johnson & Johnson.
Things a little calmer right now in the San Francisco locker room. Actually, it's a madhouse situation you've been in before, Coach. What is this feeling like to these players right now? This is the greatest moment of their lives.
This is what it's all about. You work so hard to get there, and then to be able to come out a winner, and especially Bill Walsh. Now, 3-0 in Super Bowls. Chuck Noll, 4-0 in Super Bowls. So they've got my vote. Just a great, great win for Bill Walsh, the 49ers, Eddie DeBartolo. And on the other side, Sam has got to really be disappointed. Paul Brown and the great year that they've had. I thought the strong safety, David Fulcher, really played an excellent game. Hard-hitting ball game, and gave it everything that he had, as did their entire football team.
You had picked the Bengals today, and they really were able to hang in there despite a lot of adversity, and really not a very good day at all from Boomer.
No, not a good day from Boomer, and I know he's very disappointed, but I think the two guys that were not factors in this ball game that I kind of thought would be offensively was Rathman and also Ickey Woods. You know, not bad games, but really not great games that they needed from fullbacks to do some things, to open some things up. And I was kind of disappointed in both plays of the fullbacks. But again, on Rathman's part, he really didn't touch the ball. He didn't throw the ball that much to him. But on Ickey Woods' part, he's only as good as that offensive line is. And if they're not blocking as well as they're supposed to, he's not going to be able to run as well as he can.
All right, we have two gentlemen who were finally able to call one of the more exciting Super Bowls we've had in a very long time. Let's check back in with Dick and Merlin for their final thoughts. Gentlemen.
Well, Gail, we had been talking, Merlin and myself, all week long about one of these days the chip is going to be on the roulette wheel and it's going to come up exciting, and indeed that materialized. And Merlin, let's go back to your opening thoughts. You said Montana had to be taken out of his rhythm and Cincinnati had to run the football well for the Bengals to win.
I think certainly if you looked at the game early, you saw that Montana was taken out of it at various times. But I think the injury to Crumry and the fact that this team really had to dig down, I think they wore down by the end of the day. They weren't able to keep that pressure on Montana. And when it really counted, Montana had the magic. And
you know, didn't you like the answers that the 49ers had down? They obviously not only have respect for Montana, they really love this guy, and they wanted him to win number 3.
Even Jerry Rice, and it has to be such a great thing. But as you watch that package of Rice catches, I'm reminded that there are special athletes in, you know, you watch a Wayne Gretzky in his prime, you watch a Magic Johnson, you watch those athletes that seem to be men playing with boys. It was that feeling with Jerry Rice today. You say, how does he do this? It was impressive.
We should clean up officially now. They've totaled Rice's work 11 catches. That ties former Bengal tight end Dan Ross for the Super Bowl record with 11. His yardage is a new record, 215 yards, breaking Ricky Sanders of the Washington Redskins total of last year. I guess you could call it a new NBC series. Miami Rice.
Miami Rice. Dick, before we get away, one quick thought. I'm sure that Esiason's problems today, not reflective of his performance as a quarterback, but I really think that put an awful lot of pressure on the running game, and they were not able, stacking the line as San Francisco did, really made it difficult for Ickey Woods and that offensive line.
And for Walsh and Weiss, they both have to leave knowing their teams played well.
There was real class on the field.
You did.
All right, gentlemen, you take a look at the final statistics. You can see the Bengals led in time of possession, but the big disparity in total yards and yards passing for the 49ers, and much of that Joe Montana to Jerry Rice. Obviously, neither team generated much of a rushing game, but in the end, the only thing that matters is the final score, and the San Francisco 49ers came out on top there, 20-16. We'll be back with more on our post-game show right after this. Stay with us.
There's an enemy in your car.